Hey guys, it's me again, Muscular. Where we last left off? Let's see. Checking. Alright, so they talked to Faizawa, pull things over, all that's checked out. Now they're heading for the I forget, summer camp. There we go. They're heading for summer camp. That being said, as they make their way there, with the FI, we're actually like, Theta's like, I can't wait to make s'mores and everything, just sit around the campfire with everyone. Gamma says, let us tell scary ghost stories. So he's like, I don't want to do that, Gamma. As Omega's like, yes, let's do that. Sigma says, well, Sigma's pretty quiet in this, actually, so he just comes and chimes in anytime really hero-related and the ambition and such. Delta says, it would be illogical for us to stay up too late, Theta. As if we do that, it would be an effect on our daily regiments. Sorry. With that being said, Deku and them arrive there, as Delta's like, I expected them to throw something at us right away, but it seems we truly are just stopping. As then he looks around and just sees, like, oh, as Delta's like, Mr. Aizawa, is that where we are supposed to be traveling? As it's like, yeah. Hang on a second, I gotta make a call. As then it's just like, alright. Is everyone just standing there? They're like, so what's gonna happen now? As they're like, everything should be. As then there's just the wild Pussycats and such show up. As Dota says, as it's like, oh, the rescuing team, or at least two of them, Pixie Bob and Mandalay from the Wild Pussycats. As everyone's like, oh, Delta, you know them? I've done not Delta, but Deku. I've done much research on heroes, and looked for the best way to utilize my quirk. This was one. I thought about rescue, but it did not. My quirk is suited for combat orientation alone. I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. As Pixie Bob and them start talking, explaining things, as it's like, as in Delta's like calculating, they are probably going to do something. As then they back up and like get behind everyone and sort of like bend down like they're going to tie their shoe, but then Gamma just turns them invisible. As they're like, alright, now as everyone is sent over the thing, the Gamma is like, as they're just standing there waiting, as they all look down, they're like, hang on a second, where's Midoriya? As then they just hear something taking off, as the Izuku in their eyes has taken off, as he's like, should have expected that. Kid should have seen it coming. I was like, whoa, he is fast. It's like, yeah, he is. As then they make their as the FI make their way to the camp much more quickly than the whole UA team. With everything being taken care of, Carolina is like one of the main factors in that, as they start fighting their way through the entire system. As with Carolina, she bashes her way through there, using her speed enhancers and everything, being, like I said, the replacement for Deku. And, well, being a replacer for Mineta, and aside from her having to use the bathroom. As they started clearing out monsters, by the time they got like halfway through, or not even halfway through, Deku's body was already at the little lodgings. As they even grabbed their luggage and such before they even got there. As it's like, it was smart, as Sigma says, "It was smart of you to think of that, Delta." This is like, yes. I thought I utilized the knowledge that we already have on UA, and that although throw as what is perceived as curveballs at their students, especially Aizawa. As is like, you got a point there. As then they see Kota. Seeing Kota, they're like, who's this kid? They're like, I don't know. As then they begin to speak with Kota, as he just completely ignores them. Not going to punch him in the, nuts. As it's like, they're just like, that kid seems really angry about something, as Omega says, yes, very angry. Dota says, it is not our problem to figure it out. Let us ask him where our lodgings are. As then they walk up to Kota, again asking, Kota? Huh. I believe that, like, Anna Voice's name is also Kota. Kota? Is it Kota or Kota? I'm not entirely sure. I'll look that up later. So, anyways, that being said, they all get that thing squared away pretty good. With them, Kota actually does, when they come start bothering him again, turns around and just goes, as even the AI, they're like, oh, or the FI, they're like, oh, as they like all fall over. As it's like, oof, as Kota is a bit older than Kota. Oh yes, it's Kota and Kota. Alright. Kota is a bit older than this, so he's a bit taller and a bit stronger. So they're like, ding 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 ding. As then they're like, oh, as they fell over. Kota walking away, as it's like, as Omega's like, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna destroy that kid. As they just like, calm down, Omega, calm down. As they all just start having an argument outside of the head. As they all still feel it, sort of, but that's just fueling Omega. As then Delta's like, that held no point. As Gamma's like, maybe he just really needs to hear a really good knock-knock joke. As Sigma says, it doesn't matter. Let us go find our bedrooms. As they're like, alright. As they set up their room and everything, that all being said and done, eventually Wild Pussycats show up, and then the rest of them, with pretty much Deku, or who they perceive as Deku, just sitting on top of the roof. Or actually, he's doing some pull-ups with some weights, just like pull-ups, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. As they're like, how long has he been doing that? It's like, he's been working about for over 2 hours, so, a while. As then they continue to explain, so what happens now? Well, now you all get to rest. As then they're like, oh, thank God. As Carolina's like, I should have really expected that from Midoriya. As then they get their food and everything's all good. As during the thing, the only one who really isn't tired is the FI, who's saying that they aren't tired because, well, they pretty much just have a lot of energy on backup, they say, or they have a lot of endurance. They've done quite a bit of endurance training. But anyways, as they continue forward, they go through the summer camp as they typically would. It's just that the difference is that Carolina, I'll say, is like, they're trying to figure out how they could like push the limit on the FI off a bit, seeing if they can like go beyond it for an extended period of time. As then when the FI start attempting this, they have gotten stronger naturally, like as they've like used their quirk more and become more efficient with it. Their body has naturally toughened up to hold more of a strain. So yes, their time limit will be, well, yeah, since it's been like fortified so many times after pushing the limit and sometimes breaking the limit, they have increased their going past their limit thing from 1 minute to a total of 1 minute and 30 seconds. Quite a leaps and bounds if you think about it. Especially since it's the mind is more difficult to like hone than your body, I believe, in some cases at least. And then, with that being said, they all get working. Mandalay, well, now for the bath scene. What happens there is that, well, since there's no Mineta, Kota doesn't really go, ah! As, essentially, they got this giant guy just chilling in, like, total silence. As when a few of the people just start talking, Theta comes out, it's like, this place is really nice. I wish I had one at my place. A bath is one thing, but this is different. As then they just start talking with Deku and such, like, about ways he trains, like, how to study, and if they actually, some of them were curious, I'll say, like, what's his name? Tailman was actually wondering if he could get, like, a suit of armor like Deku's, as he says he wouldn't recommend getting the same exact model as he would use this thing, that he should probably try to find a way for him to have his own customized thing. As just that thing he wears is good, and it will probably be much lighter than his actual armor. As wearing armor isn't as easy as it seems for at least some of it. Like, it's lightweight for like most armors, but it still can be kind of hampering if you aren't used to having all that extra baggage all over your entire body at once. And as for weapons, well, it's pretty much the same thing. If you aren't used to carrying around something 24/7, then, well, it's not really going to be that much use if you really just get tired from having it on all the time. Then as they ask, so wait, how do you know I couldn't wear your armor? Well, 1, you're not as tall as me. 2, you would have to have it customized by Caboose. As like, so, as Carolina's like, yeah, that's true. I actually wanted Caboose to work on some extra tools for me. It's like, wait, you're getting more stuff? What about all that other gadgets you have? She's like, yeah, I thought it'd just be nice to have more. Like, okay, hang on. You got 2 essential stun weapons, you got a stun baton, you got flashbangs, and you got a grappling hook. What more could you need? Well, I was wondering to see if I could get abilities similar to Izuku, because his abilities are just really adaptable. As Theta says, I don't think that's possible, like, at all. Not even if I, like, went inside your head like I did at the festival. As they're like, wait, you went inside? No, I didn't go inside her head. I went inside of Caboose's to try and get her some, to make him mad a bit, so that way he would fight me. Because Caboose is strong, and, like, damn, he hits like a truck going nitro on a nitro. I was like, oh, alright, geez. She's like, well, what if you did the same thing and just stayed in there for a little bit? I was like, I don't know. As it's like, come on, quick little test. I was like, alright, well, let's get out of this and, like, get dressed and such. Be weird if we just had if I came in there just like this. I'm pretty sure all of you would be angry. It's like, yeah. As everyone's like, oh, we gotta see this. As everyone starts getting up and such, they're like, alright. As the body sits down of Deku's and such, as then it's late at night, they're like, what are you all doing? We are running a test. It's like, what kind of test? Well, as they explain what their thoughts are, as Izawa's like, that is pretty interesting. Alright, give it a go. As then Theta's like, are you ready? As it's like, okay. As then they immediately run to the head. Carolina immediately gets on like one of her knees as she's like, oh, grabbing her head. As it's like, whoa, you okay, Carolina? As it's like, yes. As she's breathing in and out, she's like, I'm good. Oh, this feels weird and bad at the same time. As Theta like immediately comes outside of her head. Your mind is too, how would we say this? It's too strong, or it's not strong enough and it ain't empty enough, is as what they say. They're like, how does that, you were able to be in Caboose's head for a period of time. As Theta then explains that, well, we were in there for only a small period. Plus, Caboose is kind of dumb. He's like, he doesn't use that much brain power to be exact, so, you know, that's like, yeah, you got a point there. So for someone like Carolina, she's mentally strong, but not as strong enough to like support having another entire person's brain and like thoughts and everything flowing through her mind. As she's like, so wait, as she's like, I recall some things. As she recalls some of Deku's childhood, as Theta's like, oh yeah, that happened. And I recall a few things from yours, like when you met Washington and such. As she's like, yeah, it seems that, as Aizawa says, it seems that you can absorb some of his memories when you're merged like that. Don't recommend doing it. As then Aizawa like brings Deku aside and he's like, I don't recommend you ever trying to give someone all of you at once, alright? As Delta says, we are aware of that, Mr. Aizawa. If we were all to attempt to even go, like, if all of us even attempt to, like, go to another subject, they may as well just have their head explode. They may even go brain dead. That is kind of the scenario we would be looking at. Especially depending on how strong of us are. Not to be rude, but Theta is sort of one of the easier ones that could be implemented. Theta doesn't really take much as a matter of having control. Omega, though, Omega and Sigma would probably try to take control of the situation. As Sigma's like, no, and Omega's like, that sounds like me. And then Aizawa brings them in. So, have you seen the sixth guy yet? As they're like, no. Whoever they are, they do not want to be found. They're keeping us on one side while they stay on another. They don't want to be found. So, even if we all try to push past their little barricade, we may actually end up destroying ourselves trying to even get there. As in, like, oh, very well. As in, a few nights later, it comes to the villain attack. As then, I'll say, I'll keep it a surprise. As then, when all of them arrive, it's the same story. They're all split up, about ready to go. As then, it's just like, then the fire and everything starts happening as Mandalay's like, where's Kota? As Deku and them knew where they were supposed to go. Well, Delta. They tried to talk with Kota about the whole becoming a hero. As Sigma comes out saying, I lost someone close to me once. As having the echoing voice. As he explains that to Kota. I lost one of the few people who ever believed in me. That, I swore I would never allow that to happen again, with the echoing voice. I relive that moment every day, every night I close my eyes. I remember how I failed her, and I will not do so again. As then Sigma goes back into their head, as they just put down the plate, the thing of food, and then walk away. Kota's feeling a tingling of being a little tingle of regret with how he punched Deku in the nuts. So, as they rush rushed off to go help him. And they're like, As then they still run into Muscular as they save him in the nick of time. Sorry. As they're like, As they're like, hey, you're the one that we got a permission to kill. In fact, there's even a bonus. Those red guys. Oh, what was their name again? By those Crimson. What were they called? Were they Ghost of War? No, Crimson. Nah. Oh, yes, the Crimson Phantoms. Those guys were actually offering a bonus for you. So, how about this? You stay here, and the kid goes. As it's like, Kota. As Delta comes out, it would be optimal for you to leave at this moment. I can tell that, whoever he is, he intends to kill both of us. If one of us may die, it will be me. You have much of your life ahead of you. Now, go. As they turn their back, as they're at the ready, as Muscular just gets all, like, a decent amount of muscle fiber all over his body, as they're like, now show me your blood! Just coming in, smashing his hand down, as they dodged and then, like, gave several kicks, or actually, they activated the limit breaker as they smashed it right into the side of his leg. As the muscle held firm together, but it's deeply bruised. As he's like, oh, I knew you were actually worth it. As he came rushing in, smashing his hands again and again and again. Deku, the FI, just trying to stay ahead of him. As then, when they see an opportunity, as he threw his arm out, they, in the slow motion, they speeding up. They jumped on his arm, then they got onto his back. And then they just sort of put him into a sleeper hold, trying to, as they're like pulling back on his neck, as he's like, you think that's gonna stop me? As he just starts having their back to wall, as they just start smashing themselves into it. As then they're using the limit breaker as their, not limit breaker, actually yes, as they're using as much strength as they can muster, as they're bringing it down on his neck, trying to like pull it in as much as they can. As they're doing that, he like starts to panic, so he just starts bashing them harder and harder, starts trying to punch them, grab at them, and when he does grab them, he starts pressing down on them. But since they have their limit breaker or their limit thing off, they pretty much force their body to like flex their muscles to get rid of him putting pressure on them, or try to lessen the amount. As then they get closer, as then they just feel as they hear a little snap after they realize that Muscular will kill them if they do something, as they dislocate his neck. As he falls down unconscious, just like, as they're like, is he dead? Vital signs are all good. And he is breathing. He's just unable to move. As then they start making their way down, as Kota was actually hiding not far away. As Kota's like, as Delta's like, why didn't you leave, Kota? As Data says, it doesn't matter. We should really just get him out of here, shouldn't we? As like, agreed. Sigma, prepare the speeding. As then they go and take off, as it's like, taking off. Shigaraki didn't want the Ghost of War, or whatever. I believe it was the Ghost of War. The Ghost of War, like, he didn't want them partaking in this. He wanted to see what the Vanguard Action Squad could do on their own. So, with Muscular down, they're rushing through, and then they deal with Tokoyami. As, instead of just trying to flat out, they're like running from him, as they actually... They're like, the guy with the dupla arms and Deku are pretty much running side by side and like, what are we doing? What are we doing? As in like, wait a second. As Theta, could you throw a shield up around him? He's like, possibly. As they're like, do it. As then they throw the shield up as it just covers them entirely. It's like, what's this? As they're trying to break out, it's like, dang it. And so they're like, Tokiyami, gain control of yourself. As it's like, can you amplify the shield's radiance? As it's like, I've never even tried that before. As it's like, well, do it. As then they immediately, like, seeing if they can amplify, like, how bright it is, but nope. As then Bakugo and Todoroki come by, and they free Tokiyami. Carolina, at this point, is, like, helping fend off a few of them, like, get away from them, kicking and pushing them away. As she's like, damn it. Why do we keep on getting attacked by villains every time we try to relax? It happened on Island. It happened during the USJ. When do we get a break? Like, earlier it was fine, but now it's just being a bunch of bullshit. As she's like, I'm fed up with it. As then she goes over, grabs a rock, and just throws it really hard at Magna. As it's like, oh. As then, when everything's getting done and over with, Shigaraki says, my master has a secret mission for you, though, Ghost of War. As he's like, later on, as they heard what, as All For One later on heard what they were planning on doing with Deku if they found him, he's like, no, bring him to me. He seems to have an ability that would make use for me, and for my latest weapon. She will be pretty good at killing things once she gets the ability hands on his quirk. I'd say she'd pretty much be almost unstoppable. As then when the Ghosts of War are sent in, Deku pretty much gets all that sorted out, as then there's just a bunch of firing, like bang, 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 all around them, as it's like, get down! As then they throw up a shield around them. As it's like, oh, look at that. As the Ghost of War starts circling them, as like Minigun is like turned into frowny face, as he's like, well, actually not frowny face, but actual angry face, like a snarling frowny face. As it's like, oh, what's this? As Bakugo's like, who the hell are these guys? They're the ones who shot me in the neck. As Omega replies, as he has flashback, he's like, as Shark Faces says, you're gonna pay for what you did. Or Fire Drake, you're gonna pay for what you did. Not just for my face, not just for Muscle Man's arms, but you're gonna pay for Blondie and Frowny Face. We're gonna make you suffer. But unfortunately, Big Boss wants you alive. After he's done with you, though, we're gonna make your life a living hell. Omega says, we'll see. Let's see if you can even attempt it. Attempt it, you ugly fuck. As then, Todoroki, do you think we can... As Captain says, now, we got a few ways of doing this. Either you give up, or, as Mustard has been defeated, and after that, they pretty much brought Kendo, Tetsu, and all of them around, as they're like, or these ones die. Now, you can come with us willingly, or they can die. One way or another, it's a win-win for us. A few more wannabe heroes dead, and you will be coming at us full tilt. As, like, don't even think about trying to boost yourself away. We got a few things in the back that would make sure you don't. So, what do you say, Meta? As then it's like... They put the shield down out in front, as then they say, put them closer, and then this will be over. As it's like, alright. As then they bring the thing closer, as we're people of our words. We weren't really contracted to kill children on this mission yet. All we have to do is grab you. As it's like, alright. As then they're brought closer and they're checked before they put in, so they don't have like bombs or anything strapped to them. As there's like, now, cuff them. As they put them in cuffs, pretty much a full body suit that would like keep him trapped. And then they give him quirk dampeners as it's like, Kurogiri, we got him. And before they like all left, well, before anything, Deku says they all leave, and then it's just Captain and him. As he's like, fair enough by me. As after all of them are in the portal, they get the quirk suppressant, and then they get them into the Nomu factor. As it's like, damn it. As then eventually everything is reported to Aizawa, as it's like, he's like, oh, damn it. As everyone's like, shit, Deku got taken? As it's like, seems like those guys in red armor have been gunning for him. As Carolina's like, well, from what I heard from a few others, he did kill a few of their squad mates, or teammates, during the whole Island incident. As everyone turns to her like, what? Yeah, you guys didn't hear? He blew up the helicopter, is what he told me. He said everyone who was there, he thought everyone who was there knew it. As Banko was like, that shit, wait, Banko wasn't there, shit. As Todoroki's like, he never told me, as a lot of the other like a few of the other girls, Kaminari and such, just chime in. Like, Denki, Ida, all of them chime in saying, yeah, he never told us any of that. She's like, oh, well, he told me, I guess. Weird. As then he's like put into a place where he won't be able to do anything, as he's strapped to a table. As he's like pretty much, well, not table, but he's strapped to a wheelchair that's keeping him like, and like every now and then just injecting him with a quirk suppressant, as it's just like, as he comes face to before they went to there, they actually got him inside the villain's base. As it's like, so this is Shigaraki's like, I wish Master would just let me kill you now, but you're proving too important for him. Kurogiri, send him there. As then he's as Kurogiri walks him through the thing on a wheelchair, as it's like, Master, here's the one you requested. As it's like, ah, yes, let me see his face. As Omega, as all the AI are pretty much just staying inside his head, he's like, so, you're the one referred to whose hero name is the Meta. I'll say this, congratulations. You've piqued my interest, young Midoriya. Sorry. Oof. But, if I may ask, how'd you get so strong? After your quirk thing had the malfunction, after your quirk started spiking upward in power, we started paying closer attention to you. But, then again, we paid close attention to you before then as well. Especially to your friend. Oh, what was her name? Yes, Miss Allison. As then they go on and have an evil monologue that I'll tell later. Anyways, I'm sorry to do this to you, but this is where I'm ending this one off, and I'm going to be stopping the series and going back to what if Belle was a young Gandalf. I thought it over some time, and yeah, I'm thinking of either stopping the series or continuing on, but there will be a few things I would have to do that may make it a bit boring. So anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this, hope y'all continue enjoying this, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.